talented fingerstyle picking guitarist who got his influences from traveling all over the world, notably Southeast India, Western Africa, and he's got a touch of flamenco-style picking guitar, so beautiful and harmonic that you've never heard before. In fact, our guest's guitar playing is so unique, it's unmatched. Folks, don't go anywhere, stay right where you are. We have a super show for you guys tonight. We'll be right back. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Rob's Inner Circle. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We have an amazing show for you guys tonight. So stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. Like we said, we'll be right back. A big shout out to my good friend and producer of Rob's Inner Circle, Miss Jenny Duhame. Thank you for being there, Jen, and making the show as great as it is. And we also have an announcement to make. We're going to be having a holiday blitz during the holiday season. We're going to have Rob's Inner Circle not only on the regular Monday slot, we also have other shows that have been added. Notably, on December 27th, we're going to have the cast of Daily Struggles, including myself. So you guys are going to be able to get to mingle with us and have a lot of fun. If you have any questions to ask, it's going to be the time and the place, and you're going to get to know the cast members a little bit more intimately. So that's on the 27th. On the 28th, we're going to have our regular show on the Monday with local Montrealer Connie Rotella. Followed the next day on the 29th, a famous producer from Canada, Mr. Byron A. Martin. And the last show we're going to have, it's going to be on the Wednesday, December 30th. It's going to be Alexis Yonov, a writer-director from Hollywood. So, guys, before we go on, one last shout-out to two great fans of the Rob's Inner Circle, Mr. Ryukat, who is in Japan. So we hope we're going to be tuning in tonight. And also our friend Raul, who's in California. Thank you, guys, for your support. And for just making the show all that much more interesting when you guys come on. So, guys, I guess that's about it for the shout-outs and the introductions here. We're standing by. So we're going to go into our weekly ritual, and that is taking your glass of wine and sitting back and relaxing. Throw up your legs in the corner of the chair over here like that. That's the way to do it. Yeah. Relax, stretch out. Get ready for an amazing show tonight. I'm telling you, you guys are going to be blown away by the talent that we have in Canada. So, guys, if you're ready to go, I am. Let's do this. Let's get it on. Ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime. Tonight's guest is our Canadian product, a homegrown talent. He's Canada's pride. He's Canada's own. He is a fingerstyle guitarist virtuoso. He was nominated for the Juno Awards. He's also a writer in guitar world, and he's, of all things, a history professor. Ladies and gentlemen, here he is. He's standing by. Please welcome Canada's homegrown talent, our hero, Mr. Jeff Gunn.
Thank you.
What a performance. Good
Thank
stuff,
you very
Jeff.
much.
Thank you for being on Rob's Inner Circle, Jeff.
Thank you for having me. Very excited to talk away the next hour and a bit.
So, Jeff, I'm amazed because I'm sure you saw that intro I did or with myself in that A minor chord in the guitar, and I'm sure that's what inspired you to play guitar, right?
It is. Yep, you got it. There you go.
Wow, you learned so fast. That was amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate it. You did great. You played it with a lot of emotion, so that's what.
Thank you. Well, anyways, I have a long way to go before I get close to playing anything like you.
We all have our own style. It's all good.
So, Jeff, so let's go from the start. So you're a Canadian-born product. You're from Toronto, or just outside of Toronto?
Yeah, I just grew up. Actually, I grew up in Oshawa. Most people might know it as the one of the homes of General Motors. It was well known for that for many years. So, yeah.
Okay, so how did it all start? It's like you were 3 years old and you went to your grandma's house and you just thought you started making some noise one day. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, actually, that's what I consider my first musical experience. I have just images, just memories, basically, of like playing the pots and pans at my grandmother's house, just getting them all out. I'm almost setting them up like a drum kit, and then playing away different rhythms and beats. I mean, I used to do that, and then later progressed to the guitar. After discovering my dad's records, that was really the pivotal moment was coming across his records. Yeah.
So it's your dad's fault if you started liking rock music.
Yeah.
Is that it?
There you go. Well, the first record I ever got, I remember I got Bruce Springsteen on I think it was my 6th birthday. And then after that, it had me for sure. When I was a little bit older, I was listening, I discovered all of his old records like Cream, The Doors, Jimi Hendrix and all that kind of stuff. And then I knew right then that I wanted to play guitar. So that led me to want to do that, yeah.
Okay, so who is it that influenced you the most as a guitarist? And by the way, one of our listeners, this is Charles Vaccaro, another local hero. He's a guitarist from Montreal. He had a band called Lipstick back in the day, and it was managed by Whitney Houston.
Oh, wow. Amazing.
And so if you want to tune in next week, he's going to be our guest on our show.
Sweet. Excellent.
So, by the way, Charles, that's a goddamn guitar that Jeff is using right now.
Yeah.
There you go. So, Jeff, to go back to the question, sorry for interrupting.
No worries.
Tell us the guitarist that influenced you the most. Like we're talking heavy metal here.
Well, I would say that it depends on what stage, in your own development where you're looking at. So originally, I would say guys like Hendrix, Clapton, as a teenager, Jimmy Page. All like your classic rock kind of guys were definitely the ones that influenced me and wanted to play. I also like bands at the time like Metallica and Slash from Guns N' Roses, stuff like that, growing up in that era. So they were all influential. I think like just through different experiences, I listened to different things at different times. And so therefore, like the guitar players that would inspire you might actually, change at different times as well. Like I always love those ones I just mentioned. But I think as you go through different stages in your life and you listen to different things, you're inspired by different guitar players and musicians for that matter of all different instruments. So.
Okay, so you told me that your favorite guitar solo is from Slash, from Guns N' Roses.
Yeah, I would say for like a rock solo, I think the solo in November Rain, I remember that was one of the reasons too, besides my dad's records as a young adult there, I wanted to play was seeing him out there in the November Rain video, just like wailing away on that beautiful melodic solo. And I had the pleasure of seeing him play it maybe 3 years ago or 4, I can't remember exactly. At one of the NAMM shows, they had a Lifetime Achievement Award that he got from Gibson. And I happened to get into that show. It was maybe 500 people or something at it.
Wow.
And it was just incredible. To watch him play, and he came out and he played Sweet Child of Mine and all these tunes. So there was something very special about it. I think just the way he played it, it was almost like an appendage, kind of like with Hendrix, something that almost like a oneness with the instrument that was really inspiring,
So Jimi Hendrix is one of your influences. I'm sure you know to play the national anthem of America on your guitar by now, right?
I think I practiced it a long time ago. I don't know that I want to give it a go right now.
No. I'm not asking you. I'm not putting you on the spot. No.
I want to go over it.
We have our set all set up for our audience tonight. Right. Tell us, Jeff, you were nominated for a Juno Award, which is pretty amazing. What happened with that?
Thank you. So As a writer, as a co-writer and co-producer, I worked with Emmanuel Jal, who's one of the artists that I had the pleasure of working with in the last 10 years extensively, and had the opportunity to basically co-write his album, The Key, not the whole thing, but maybe half of it. I think I'm on 6 tunes on it, and I co-wrote 4 of them and co-produced with him, and brought the players together and then wrote the music with him. And got also with Nelly Furtado. She was on 2 of the tracks with us as well, which was a real privilege to work with her as well. But yeah, that's how. And then the album got nominated. 2 of the songs got into the film The Good Lie with Reese Witherspoon, which was neat. The one song is the bonus track on the actual on the soundtrack, and the other one is actually, as the credits close, you'll hear my guitar playing over a song called We Fall. I didn't write that song, but I played on that song. So yeah.
Okay, so you're a traveled man. You've traveled more at your young age. You've traveled more than a diplomat. You've been all over the world. Tell us about the regions you visited and how, when you got, let's say, the Southeast India, how you got influenced musically.
Sure. So I would say that when I got done school, I went to school, actually. I studied jazz guitar back in the day. And then when I got done, I really just wanted to travel the world. So I kind of dedicated my life in my 20s to just traveling any way I could. And I kind of see it as 3 phases, if you will. So the first phase was I basically worked on ships for a couple of years. I did that as soon as I got out of school as a solo guitar player. And I would actually work contracts for a few months. I'd save up my money. And then I would go backpack in places with a guitar and a backpack. I would just go through Africa and in Asia, different places like that. And I would jam with people wherever I could and sit in. And I learned a lot that way. It was almost like a second education, if you will, just traveling that way and playing. And then when I came back to Canada when I was about 30, that's when I started working with Emmanuel Jal. I got to travel the world again, this time playing festivals and big shows and opening for incredible artists that I always dreamed of opening or playing with, whatever. So that was the second kind of way of doing it. I don't know. I guess by the time I was 29, I had been to every continent. And then by the time I was 39, I played on every continent, played concerts, which was one of my goals. I wanted to play on every continent, and I did it just before I turned 40. So when I was 39, the last one was we opened for Xavier Rudd, who's an Australian, a great musician from Australia. He plays all different instruments, plays guitar, didgeridoo, he sings. He's got quite a following around the world, kind of like a world music type guy, I guess you might want to say. I don't know. Don't always like to use that term, but whatever. And so we got to open for him in a couple of shows in Australia, and that was a very special moment, seeing that come to fruition. So, yeah.
Fantastic. So just to brief the audience a little bit, Jeff, some people have come in a little late. Okay. Our guest tonight is our virtuoso guitar hero from Canada, from Toronto, Ontario, Jeff Gunn. Folks, Jeff has told me that he'd be more than happy to answer any questions you might have for him. So you talked about Emmanuel Jal. Who is Emmanuel Jal exactly? It's a name I've heard somewhere.
Sure. So he basically was a child soldier from East Africa in what is now South Sudan. And he basically survived that conflict. And then he ended up making his way to the UK. And eventually he was kind of discovered, if I guess you want to put it that way, by Peter Gabriel, helped him, kind of uplifted him and got him an opportunity to play a show. And then from there, it kind of blossomed from there. But his life story, he wrote a book called War Child. And I read the book, and I saw a movie called Blood Diamond with Leonardo DiCaprio. And I liked one of the songs in the film. I actually saw that. I liked the movie so much, I saw it a few times in theater. And at the very end, when the credits were, and in the film, there's a song. I'm like, who wrote that? And then all of a sudden I looked into it, and I saw this guy named Emmanuel Jal. And I was like, wow, I really like his music. And I've read his book, and I think he's, and I looked him up. I'm like, man, this is the kind of music I want to do. Because he was doing different styles. Like he had a bit of African-esque guitar, he had rock guitar, he had reggae, and I guess my strength is versatility in terms of being able to kind of adapt and play different styles of guitar. And I was always a kind of a lead player as well, so it was a perfect match, if you will. So I played one show, and then from there it just blossomed, and here we are 10 years later, after having had a great journey together for sure. So, and it's a real privilege to play with him, because he's also a bit of a peace activist as well. So we played a lot of cool shows, like for the Dalai Lama, and we, he won what's called the Dresden Peace Prize Award. So we got to go to Germany and play that. It's like it's up there with the Nobel Peace Prize. It's like the Dresden Peace Prize for his work and things like that. So it was a real pleasure to kind of mix music and doing something, putting something good in the world, if you want to say that, So it's been a real joy. Yeah.
So you have two parallel careers. You play with Emmanuel Jal, and you also have your solo career.
Right.
But as a solo guitarist, I watched you play. You don't need a band. You play percussion. You play the harmonies, the melodies. You make your guitar sing. Actually, you didn't even need a singer.
Thank you. It's fun. It's I've always kept up on my solo guitar chops, I guess, too. And then a few years ago, I had a real desire to write original music, and because for years in my 20s, I would play covers, and I would do everything from like the Beatles to jazz standards to classical to and I throw my own originals in and stuff. But at that time, I felt I was just absorbing everything and kind of learning. And then in my 30s, I put it all together and kind of started writing my own original music. Apart from playing with Emmanuel in the band scenario and then moving to the solo guitar, I do love it because I find a lot of people that maybe never listened to that style of music before can actually get really interested in it and take something away that through the joy of the guitar, through this beautiful instrument. I've always been fascinated with the guitar and the sounds that are available by doing different things. You can strum you can strum a chord like this, or you can tap the strings, or you could do something like where you're actually getting all these cool sounds, or you could do a chord like this.
Wow.
Just a different way of picking a chord, and all of a sudden it opens up this whole other world, the soundscape. So that's what really fascinates me. And then to take it one step further, how to tell stories through that. I see myself, my last album was called Sonic Tales, so kind of like a sonic storyteller, if you will. I don't sing, but it's not my forte. My forte was playing guitar, so how to tell stories and connect emotionally with people through the guitar itself. I'm just really fascinated by that and still inspired. There's always something else to learn. There's so many great players in the world right now too that I find inspiring, that are kind of doing really creative things on guitar that motivates me to want to work even harder and to keep on progressing.
Okay, I recognize a lot of Eddie Van Halen, the way you finger tap the guitar there. He definitely was an influence.
Yeah, definitely he was. That's really kind of you to say that. He's definitely, he was one of those guys, that I think as a guitar player, when you're growing up too, you go through different phases where you're going to listen to all Hendrix's stuff and you learn, you're never going to play exactly like that, but you take away what you will from it. Same with Van Halen. He's one of those guys, one of those innovators that, really popularized and kind of took that style to the masses, right? I mean, every once in a while, someone like that comes around and really has a big influence on, on a particular genre and even transcends genre, and just the way the guitar could be played, conceptually, right?
So you were also talking about Jimmy Page before we came on the air. He's one of your influences as well. But,
right.
Since he's your influence, you do what he does, and that is like he's probably going to take the D string and tune that down a half step and let go of the two strings down to the B string. Is going to tune that down a whole step. It's like a freaky guitar tuning. Is that something you do as well?
Well, I know that he does like drop D and like G tuning and all these different things, which is very cool. I'll say that, yeah, when I was playing, as a teen, when I was playing like Zeppelin covers and stuff like that and learning that stuff, definitely I would. It's funny because I always get asked that too for the solo guitar stuff I do, if I use alternate tunings, and I haven't yet actually. I got another project coming out next year, and of the 30 songs I've kind of written the last few years on solo guitar, they're all in standard tuning. I haven't really explored, but I'm actually excited about that because what that means is maybe that's the next thing, after this next project, maybe I'd be like, you know what, I want to explore a lot more working with different tunings, but also the other thing that really excites me is capos, how to use like 2 or 3 capos on a guitar neck and kind of play with those capos and experiment with different sounds and how you can write songs doing that. So I think there's something to look forward to down the road. You're always thinking about how can I explore this sound or that sound in really creative ways and try to make emotional tunes that people connect with, right?
So you have a new album coming out. So talk to us about your new album.
I'm very excited. I'll say that the majority of it was written during COVID, during the, I live right in Toronto and stuff. So a lot of it, just kind of digging deep and this outpouring of music, the last 8 months, and decided to go record it with this great guitar player who I kind of look up to named Antoine Dufour, who's with Candy Rat Records. He's based out of Montreal, just outside of Montreal. And he's a wonderful guitarist. He's one of my favorites on that label. And if you don't know Candy Rat, they're kind of like the premier label for solo guitar, like modern fingerstyle, percussive kind of stuff. So to work and record with him, I did the last album with him, and I did this one with him as well, in terms of him mixing, mastering, co-producing a couple of tunes, things like that. So it's been a real joy to work with him. This album features solo guitar pieces, but also a few. I have a bit more guests on this album too. Mostly violin player from LA called Koya Nunta, who does wonderful violin. I also have my buddy Mike Sleeth there, who's a drummer for Shawn Mendes, who basically plays cajon on this one. And we did a performance earlier in the year. So I was like, yeah, we got to get him on these tunes. So it worked out really well. And a few other guests too. So it's really exciting. Yeah.
Just for the audience who don't know what a cajon is, it's the explain to the audience, Jeff, will you, what the cajon is exactly?
Sure. So it looks like a box that you sit on, basically. If you ever see like a drummer sitting on a box and they put their hands like this and hit it basically looks like a big square, if you will, or a rectangle, depending on how the length of it. You sit on it and you actually play with it with your hands, and it sounds great. So I wanted to add that to this album because I've done percussive stuff myself, and sometimes people will say, "Is that cajon you're playing?" It's actually the Godin, because there's just the way that it's built and designed. It gets really cool percussive sounds on this particular model, the Multi-Act Encore nylon string one. So I wanted to add a thickness to it, and that's kind of listening back to the recordings. I'm really excited to share them.
Fantastic.
And the album also features some more new solo stuff. I've been really experimenting a lot with what's called percussive harmonics. So percussive natural harmonics and percussive or harp harmonics or artificial harmonics, where you take a chord and instead of sounding it like that, you actually tap it. Where you actually strike it like a dulcimer, where you actually do shapes of chords, where you keep different ratio between your hand and your strumming hand here, and you tap the actual metal fret bars. So I'm really fascinated by that and how to get really kind of cool sounds of the guitar. So it does feature a lot of stuff like that, as well as a couple of remixes of some of my older songs, kind of done in a new percussive way. So I'm really excited about that. Yeah.
Okay, so I understand you prepared a solo for us. You're going to be giving us a performance right now.
Yeah, I'll give you a solo. I'll give you a solo guitar piece. Rather than, I don't have my electric set up right now to wail for you, but I do. I'll give you a little bit of a tune that is being remixed on this next album, which is called Momentum, by the way. So it's Momentum is the name of the album, and this song here is one of the remixes that I'm doing of a song I had previously recorded, but it's a bit more up tempo, and it definitely has some percussion and stuff like that. I'll play a little excerpt from it if you like.
Jeff, will you give me the honor of appropriately introducing you?
Oh, thank you
for this performance.
Yes, thank you,
ladies and gentlemen. Canada's own, Canada's a pride, Mr. Jeff Gunn.
Thank you very much.
Very well done. Very well done.
Thank you. That
Thank
tune's
you
called
for-
Candle Lanterns, in case you're wondering.
Thank you for that beautiful performance, Jeff.
My pleasure.
Jeff, okay, 7-string guitars. Let's talk about 7-string guitars. Have you ever played on a 7-string guitar?
I think I've played once. My cousin had a 7-string guitar. I believe that I jammed on it once to try it. He's into metal and kind of like that kind of scene. So he's definitely let me try it. I think maybe once or twice I jammed on. Yes.
Okay, and how about a 12-string guitar?
Yeah, I've played those a few times, and it's basically it's a beautiful instrument. It adds a richness to the chords and a very unique sound, I might add as well. So yes, I've played 12 strings. Yes.
Okay, so the guitar you're playing with, what is the model exactly?
So this one is Godin, what's called a Godin Multi-Act Encore, and it's a nylon Encore. So it's nylon strings, and it kind of gives you a different sound. I also, before I had a steel string one as well. It looks the exact same, but it's steel string guitars. It's one of those, I just love the versatility of this guitar because I use it on stage with different artists, like Emmanuel, but also other people I play with as well too. It works really well. I've played with an artist in Toronto called Domanique Grant. We do a lot of TV. We've done TV together, like different morning shows and stuff like that, performances. And I always use this one when it's voice and guitar or like another 2 vocals, like where it's her and another singer called Nika Hazel, who also sings with her as well. It works really well, but it also works good on solo guitar as well too. So that's kind of why I like to use it, because you can play it in so many different contexts. And I'm a huge fan of Godin. I've been with them for about 10 years, actually. I'm celebrating this year the 10-year anniversary as an endorsee as well. And congratulations to the Godin, to Robert Godin and his family for I know he just got the Order of Canada,
Nice.
which is pretty cool for his innovations and that spirit. I think that's one thing maybe that we resonate well and sit well on is that as a guitarist too, my solo stuff, I'm always trying to kind of, push the boundary within myself on what kind of sounds I can get. So, that kind of thing. So it's a great fit and I love the guitar.
Hey, Jeff, you really know how to draw an audience.
Thank you.
We got Jess Sorrell here. He's from Australia, who's tuned in to watch our show.
Aw, lovely. Thank you.
That's fantastic, Jeff. Wow.
Thank you.
Jeff, did you want to show us a bit of pictures? You have some pictures?
Yeah, sure. I'll bring a couple up now. I think there's a couple here from just different moments, I guess, that were kind of like really, really special. So let me bring up this one first. Let me know if you can see it.
Yeah, I see it perfectly.
Okay, so this show here was an audience. Actually, the manager of Emmanuel Jal took the shot as we were playing, and it was the first kind of like arena show I'd ever played. It was for the Dalai Lama. It was about 26,000 people, and it was a very special moment because we also played with this artist called Swizz Beatz, who's Alicia Keys' husband. He joined us on stage, and we did a song called "We Want Peace," and it was in honor of the whole night was in honor of the Dalai Lama. And it was just one of those incredible nights that you never forget. And excuse me. Excuse me.
Bless you.
And I will say that, thank you, that going out and playing that show, I mean, I worked my entire life to get to that moment where you walk out and you play for, an arena-sized show. It was just a magical night I'll never forget. So that was a few years back now. It was definitely the spark that would lead on to even greater things in a sense. So that was one. Can I carry on and show you a couple more?
Well, let's say maybe 2, 3 more. Then we're going to go back into the car, talking about guitars, and then we can come back for some more later. So 2 or 3 more, Jeff, if you don't mind.
Sure. So this one here, this is with Ringo Starr.
Nice.
I got to play his birthday with Emmanuel again on this guitar I'm playing tonight. It was more of an acoustic set. It was myself, Emmanuel, and Paul Beaubrun, who's a Haitian artist who's really great too. And then we played for his birthday party. We played we played a couple of original songs. We jammed one of his tunes, and then afterwards, the reception was in Capitol Records in that famous building where you walk down the stairs, and it's like in this room, people like Judy Garland, people like Michael Jackson, all the greats, Pink. I think like Coldplay. Everybody has kind of like played and recorded. The Beatles, of course, in that room. It's such a special place. So got to hang out with Ringo for a little bit, and he actually took the selfie. really good. And he's like, "Hey, do you want me to take the selfie?" I said, "Sure." So he grabbed my phone and he took it, and he was a really nice guy. It was one of those magical days that you never forget either, you know. So
Nice.
we can come back and show some more.
We can come back. Yeah. Okay. To get back to the guitars, do you play with a Fender Stratocaster or a Gibson Les Paul as well?
Well, I've always been a Fender guy myself. I love Gibson. I love the way they look. I love the way they sound. Definitely great guitars. You know, and even the guys that I listen to, like, you know, Page and like Slash and all those guys that I like, they play Gibsons. But I did play one for a little bit in the very beginning when I first started playing. But I actually played for the majority of my years as a guitarist. I've played the Fender Strat, and I love it. And basically, it's one of those things. The versatility of the guitar, you know, playing that guitar, you can play different styles. You can, you know, there's just so much you can do with that guitar in terms of. You know, if you want to play a rock solo, if you're playing like a reggae vibe, it just kind of captures, I think, the tones that kind of go with the different genres or styles that you're into. That's why I love the guitar, the versatility of that guitar. Yeah.
Okay, if I would to blindfold Jeff right now, and I'd be playing a Gibson Les Paul and a Fender Stratocaster, just by the sound, could you tell which is which?
I would think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would definitely think I could spot that for sure. I think, you know, the Les Pauls are really, really suited for like the whole like the rock scene. Anything you want, like a real deepness in the lower end of the sound, and just like a real I don't know what the word is, but you definitely decipher between or distinguish between the two for sure, without a doubt. But like a lot of the players I really listen to and like, you know, are more like the Fender guys. So it's kind of like that, yeah.
Okay, so you actually opened up for Peter Gabriel at a show. Tell us all about that.
Sure. Again, that was with Emmanuel Jal. We actually played the Roseland Ballroom before it closed. It's a famous venue in New York City, and it was for Peter Gabriel runs like a charity event. So he basically put on a show, and he asked us to open us and the artist called Feist. So we opened the night. It was three of us. Myself, Jal, and an artist called Silverstone, and we played the set, like 6 songs or something. And Peter actually walked on stage and introduced us, which was really cool. And then Feist went on, and then he closed the night out. Peter Gabriel did, which was incredible. But I guess the most special moment for me was the sound check. Actually, when we walked in to do our sound check in the afternoon, I walked in the room, and all of a sudden Peter Gabriel's on stage playing "In Your Eyes," my favorite Peter Gabriel song, with all the guys from like the Secret World Live tour in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s that time. And they were playing it. And I was just like, I just stood there and stared. And it's like David Rhodes on guitar, who I later became friends with and went to England. And he took me to Real World Studios and to the exact little cabin where Peter wrote all these famous songs. So it was a real special. It led to some great things. I saw Peter again last summer, you know, a few years later. When we played WOMAD. He has that festival he does every year in England. We got to play the WOMAD festival last year, in summer 2019. So after the show, he came down to hang out and meet us and stuff like that again. So they've had the privilege of meeting him a couple of times, and just a wonderful guy. And, you know, I remember after the first show we did, he actually complimented, that meant the world to me. He said, "You play guitar really well." And that was the biggest one of the greatest things that I've ever, you know, to receive that from someone that you look up to musically as an artist is one of the greatest feelings, you know, compliments you could ever get. So it was very, very humbling.
Well, okay. I remember we were talking last week when we had the pre-interview. You were telling me how thrilling it is to connect with the audience. It's like you're there performing for them, and there's a connection between you and the audience. And you were telling me how exhilarating it is to feel the love between the band, you know, the performance and the audience. Explain to us what exactly it is that you feel at that moment. Sure.
So I'll say that, like, you know, like I'll go back to that picture I showed earlier. The one where it was the first first arena show I ever played. I'll bring it up again. Sure. This one right here. I remember walking on that stage and just feeling a oneness, like and just pure joy. Like it was like, I don't know, it's just like exhilarating joy, and the audience was singing along with the song, and we were playing, and it was just such a wonderful feeling of oneness. It wasn't intimidating or like, it was more like a sense of peace playing for that audience, and to basically walk out there and connect with them was wonderful. And I always strive for every show with Jal to give 110%. I always gauged it if my shirt wasn't sweaty or like totally drenched, and I didn't work hard enough, like that's how I kind of measured it. I've always looked up to performers like Bruce Springsteen, or like guys who gave 110% at the show, because those people work really hard and they're coming for a night out to retreat and to feel something magical and stuff like that. And I'm very proud over the years of having the opportunity to play with Jal, and I feel I always gave 110%. I never took it for granted, and just really giving your all. As a solo guitarist, I try to do that too, where you're going to get people that maybe have never really checked out solo guitar before, but and kind of win them over. It's like, wow, I really like, I want to check out more of this music now, and to connect with them also, on a spiritual level as well too, where you're making them feel something on the guitar. I love that feeling. I'll say as a solo guitarist, it's also that you got to give that much more, because it's just you. When you're on a band, you can run around the stage, you can jump off the drums, have done all that stuff, hold the guitar up in the audience and like play, jam out with the singer, we're jamming together and the audience can see that love. And, and then as a solo guitarist, it's like an extra challenge, because some of the stuff you're playing requires a lot of concentration, trying to get to that level where it becomes, theatrical, and transcends that, like even guys like really great performers, guys like Tommy Emmanuel, who do solo guitar, they're performers too. Like he's just so good that it's it takes a lot of skill, but it's just pure performance, right? So trying to get to that level where it becomes that exciting, that you're giving 110, which I always do, but also where it becomes it's beyond, and you're so comfortable doing that. I'm still working towards that comfort level as a solo guitarist, for sure.
Yeah, Jeff, where's your glass?
Right here. Cheers.
Cheers to you, my friend. All the success in the world.
Thank you. Thank you for having me too.
So, Jeff, tell me, why is it that a guitarist owns 1,000 guitars? I never figured that out.
I think it's you have guitars for different things, different songs, different. Like I don't know. I mostly use the Fender Strat for when I'm playing with like artists and stuff, like full band, that kind of scenario. And I use this one as well for that, but I also use this guitar for more of my solo stuff. But I also have like a proper classical guitar that's completely acoustic. This one's a hybrid because you can plug it in as well too.
Okay.
Plug it in and it serves as both, right? So different guitars for different things, different tones, different sounds you want to get on a particular track. I think and also I keep one that I've just had ever since I was like first started playing, that my dad got me, that is sentimental, which I will never, part with. Right. So it's one of those things that it's very special to me, that guitar, and, it's different sentimental reasons too. Maybe you love, you've got a guitar at a certain time in your life, or you were about to go on and do like more, higher end shows. So you wanted to get a new guitar for that, I don't know, different reasons, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. So tell me, you said your guitar tells a story. You're a storyteller on your guitar.
Right.
Okay. For someone who doesn't understand that, how is it that you tell your story on the guitar? Is it because you're a complete band as a solo artist? Is it what the guitar is expressing?
That plays a role. So, I like to think of, whenever I write solo guitar songs, I think of it like a pop song, actually. I think intro, I think verse, chorus, the part that repeats. I think if there's a pre-chorus, if there's a breakdown where and then it brings the chorus back in at the end. I think actually in terms of pop structure songs when I'm writing solo guitar pieces. And, each section is going to have a melody. Each section is going to have a melody that you're playing. So that's how I think of it. It's like, okay, the listener might be like, oh wait, there's that part that's repeating again. So that's the chorus,
okay.
That you would hear in any song, like a, Bob Dylan tune or, any song, whatever. You're going to hear that chorus repeat. So musically, you're going to hear that too. And that's true with a lot of modern fingerstyle guitarists. They have a certain, form and structure to the song that tells the story. And, we don't have words, but we have emotions, right? And I like to experiment personally. I'm really interested, and I have been for a long time, on harmonics, the different sounds. Like I said earlier, here's your natural harmonics like this. And here's things like your artificial harmonics. And here's your tapping harmonics, where you're actually sounding like that, where you're tapping the actual metal fret bar. So I'm interested in how you can make those into your melodies. So a lot of people use them as decorative things where you're playing a chord and you're like kind of doing that. But I'm actually interested in how you can actually turn those into the actual melody that you're playing. If you're going to do a melody like,
wow,
like that.
It's so warm.
Why don't you do something where you can actually go like, maybe you're going to go, something like I did earlier tonight when I was playing this here. Where the harmonics actually become the melody of the song and not just decorative background in the forefront. So I'm really interested in that. I've been fascinated by harmonics by Canadian guitarists like Lenny Breau, who was a bit of a legend back in like the 70s, and I think he passed away in the 80s, but he was definitely an influence on that led me in that direction of wanting to experiment with it. People have used harmonics a lot, like in jazz and things, and in solo guitar. I've always been interested in how you can use it in pop music too. Even the songs I wrote with Jal. There's one song called "The Key," the title song of the Key album, which the intro uses all artificial harmonics in like a pop setting. So I've been really influenced in that sense, and how you can use harmonics in really creative ways, and as a solo guitar player, how they become your melodies. So I think on the next album too that you hear that I put out next year in 2021, a lot of those harmonics are at the forefront. And I think also too, that might be something that might distinguish me from other guitar players in modern fingerstyle. It's just that emphasis on the harmonics as the melodies. That kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay, before I ask you to play that song that you had prepared for us, we have a question from a member of the audience.
Sure.
And he asked exactly at what age did you start playing? I guess he probably missed the beginning of the show. You mentioned it at the beginning, but I'll give you a chance to answer our audience member.
Sure. So I started playing when I was about 13. Now there's a half truth that I did take lessons for about a month when I was 10. I took lessons, but I wanted to play pop music and rock music, and said I was kind of learning how to read single notes. So actually I quit. And I came back to it when I was 13. And at that time, I was learning by ear. I was learning from friends, basic chords, and then they would show me pop songs that I liked. And then I started learning by ear. Like the first album I learned by ear completely was Nirvana, Nevermind. I just remember learning the whole album by ear, figuring out the whole album in its entirety. And just by listening and stuff like that. And then I got to a point when I was about maybe a year later, 14 or 15, where I fell in love with the guitar, and I just wanted to play all the time. And then I started taking lessons, and I got a great teacher that really motivated me. And then I learned how to read music and really dedicated my time to trying to master and really learn so much about the guitar. And it never ends. That's the weird thing. It's like I've been playing for 27 years, but I still feel like there's so much more to learn. I mean, you see some of the incredible players coming out these days, and it just motivates you. It's a never-ending journey. I get really inspired even by a guy like Les Paul, who played well until I think he was in his 90s, and he still played a weekly gig in New York City. I believe it was once a week he played right up until he passed away. And that's inspiring, because he still had that passion to play, and I still have it. I still feel like that 14-year-old kid that loves to play. I've never lost it, and if I ever do, then I won't play. That's the thing. It's I still have the passion to play and to explore this beautiful instrument. So, and keep pushing myself to get better and better and better and improve. And you can hear it in your own sound when you look back and hear recordings what you did 10 years ago compared to 5. If you're constantly kind of working at it, you'll hear the growth. And new things too. The things you're listening to now, as opposed to what you're listening to before, they creep into your playing, right? So.
Jeff, did you want to play your song, please?
Yeah, sure. Sounds good. I'll just play a little bit of. This is actually a tune that's going to come out later this week with Fret Monk, or sorry, not Fret Monk. I've been with Fret Monkey Records. They're the one who put up my last album. But these guys are called Candy Rat Records, and they kind of feature basically all my modern fingerstyle guitar heroes. But they're actually going to put the song out this Thursday. From my last album. I shot another video and put it out, so I'll share a little bit of that. This tune's called Wonder. The tune's
Wow.
called. Thank you.
That's entertaining. Wow.
Thank you. The tune's called Wonder. It was from my last album. It came out in 2019. But the guys over at Candy Rat liked it. So they asked me to refilm it because I did do a video. I like to do videos with like narratives and stories. And they asked me to kind of refilm like a live performance of it. So you can see that this Thursday too. It comes out. So I'm very excited about that.
So Jeff, tell me, okay, here's the scenario. We're 24 hours into, just before you're going to be giving your live performance.
Right.
The day before, what is Jeff Gunn doing?
Sure. So probably practicing a lot. Probably practicing a lot. When I have a show, it depends too. So like, I'll give two answers to that. One is if it's with the band show, and one if it's with the solo guitar.
Okay.
The solo guitar show, yeah, I practice like the weeks leading up to it. So the night before, I might even chill a little bit because I would have worked a lot leading up to that show where I'll run the whole set and I'll time myself. I'm very meticulous, and then I'll work on transitions about how I'm actually going to like go from song to song, what I'm going to say to the audience, am I going to switch things up, and then go over the song so it's very effortless for me to play it when it comes time. Because some of the songs demand a lot of practice. Some songs I could just play right now for you. Other songs I'd actually have to rehearse a couple of weeks leading up to it to be able to feel comfortable to play it. Depends on the track. But usually like the day of the show or the night of the show, I always like to go for a run. I exercise in the morning, and then I come back and like play a little bit, force myself to sleep a couple hours. I remember, and then basically get ready, have a nice coffee and shower, and get ready to go play the show at night. Same with the band situation. Leading up to shows with the band, we've probably rehearsed a lot. Had maybe depends on where the show is and things like that, and who we're playing with and all that. But basically, it would have had a number of rehearsals leading up to it. And would have really rehearsed all the transitions and all that kind of stuff and the intros and outros and all that. And then, just preparing to actually play the show. Same thing when we used to go around and travel, and hope to again after COVID here. Basically, go to the hotel, wake up, hit the gym, do a little warm up in the morning, force myself to sleep for a few hours in the afternoon, get up, work on the songs a little bit more, and then go play it at night. That's kind of the routine that I like to do. It's because I like to, leading up to a show too, I usually go to the gym quite a bit, do a lot of running because I want to have lots of energy on stage to be able to do that. Obviously, during this time, it's been a bit trickier. All the gyms are closed. So I've actually been rollerblading
Wow.
in the freezing cold. It hasn't snowed that much here in Toronto. So I've been lucky. I've been able to go and rollerblade sometimes in the wee hours of the morning, like, 5 or 6 in the morning on the bike trails. Just like around Toronto. So it's been great. So like even getting ready for this, I rollerbladed the last couple of days, kind of getting my energy level up to be on your show tonight. So it's been fun.
Fantastic. So you know what? Time is just flying by over here. Look, I have so many things to cover. And look, I also want to touch a little bit your other skills, other than guitar. You're also a contributing writer to Guitar World, the magazine.
Yes, I've filmed 9 videos with them, and I've written 2 features. I say features, pieces that are like 5 pages or more, as opposed to 1 or 2. It was great, going to film with them in New York City, and the great opportunities. Also, Acoustic Guitar Magazine. I'm still doing more. Actually, I'm doing more with them these days, probably. With Guitar World, I did a couple of features in the videos in the last 5 years, which has been wonderful. And then I had the opportunity as an acoustic player to do some stuff with Acoustic Guitar Magazine. Here in Canada, too, Canadian Musician Magazine's been wonderful over the years. I started writing with them. I actually started writing with the magazine out of Montreal called Music, Etc.
Okay.
They were the first kind of magazine I started writing like guitar tips for. And then after that, I went to Canadian Musician, then into Guitar World, and then Acoustic Guitar Magazine out of California, who was still closely affiliated with them. And then more recently, a lot of people have gone online and done things like videos. So I worked with this company called Jam Play out of the States and did 56 videos for them, or 51.
Wow.
51, sorry. The first course is out. I believe the second one's coming out in 2021. But that was a lot of fun too. And how to communicate your ideas as a musician and guitar player in writing is a real skill, particular niche to how to write an article that you can't communicate. That, like going on film is you just do it. But when you got to write about it, it's a real. I always respected the writers too. Looked up to a lot of different writers in that field that could communicate that and aspired to, do the same. In those kinds of lessons and stuff. So it's been fun.
Okay, Jeff, of all things, you're also a history professor.
Yes, that is true. My two passions, I decided about 10 years ago, I was like, I'm just going to pursue my two passions, and on a real serious level. I'd always done music. So that was just a continuation of what I was already doing. But then history, having traveled through Africa and other parts of the world, I really wanted to go back and and learn about the histories. And, that opened up a whole other world to travel. Got to go to South America and Africa and Europe and Asia and all over the place again through the history work, it's pretty cool because you get to network and meet a lot of great people and learn. It's an exchange of knowledge. You learn a lot and you learn from each other,
Okay, so you don't only play guitar, you play other instruments as well, such as the ukulele?
Yes, I also play ukulele, particularly in the last few years. I've really been starting to write stuff on the ukulele. I might do something on the next project that features a little bit of ukulele too, because it's really a beautiful little instrument. I like it. Played drums for years, and a little bit of piano. My keys chops are not anywhere near my guitar chops, but I've been working on it, trying to get that as my second instrument to be able to play keys and synth and pads and all that kind of stuff.
So Jeff, you take Angus Young, who's a little bit like yourself, is very energetic and his shirt is all drenched.
Sure.
I guess, he said at one point he got fed up. He says, why even bother wearing your shirt anyway, right? But it's amazing that this guy, with all that energy he emits, all that sweat, it's amazing he doesn't get electrocuted. Without that shirt on.
It is amazing. He's another guy too. I remember being 14 or 15 and seeing him on stage being thunderstruck. I was like, I love this guy. This guy's incredible. Just the energy and the joy, and I think also Eddie Van Halen too. It was the joy of playing, seeing the video jump, on TV, as a kid, watching that video and just seeing him run around on stage, smiling, playing guitar, having the time of his life. I mean, those types of people inspire the next generation of players to play, So, I think the energy, the excitement of it is what drew, which draws people to want to play guitar in the first place, and just trying to, transmit that yourself and to find really cool ways of doing it. But I'll say as a solo guitarist too, it's always fun when you get people. That's one of my favorite things is when someone comes up and maybe they've never seen a solo guitar show before. And they're like, oh, I really like solo guitar now. I've never seen anyone play it in that particular way because maybe they've only seen it in a pop context or whatever, like a band context, So it's always fun connecting with people who discover it. And then, they might like something you do and they might go on and discover the whole world, of fingerstyle guitar, and all the greats who've basically paved the way for today. So yeah.
Like many multi-instrumentalist musicians, for some reason, and maybe you're going to give me the answer, when you write your songs, you write them on the piano, whereas instead of the guitar. And this seems to be a trend, that I see a lot. So why is it that, you're doing it that way? Do you write on the piano instead of the guitar?
Sure. So it depends on the type of tune I'm doing. I do like to write on piano. If I'm pitching a song to somebody, I will write it on piano usually. Just, I don't know, there's something about the richness of the chords, about when you're trying to construct a melody around some, basic chords that I'm playing on piano, there's something very beautiful and conducive to doing it on that medium. And it just sounds amazing. And these days too, all the different sounds you can trigger, on the synthesizer and stuff, it's really cool. And it will inspire you to kind of come up and write lyrics for it and melodies and things like that. I think that has something to do with it. if I'm doing a solo guitar piece, I still will focus just on guitar, and that will be the centerpiece of what I'm doing. But if it's a pop song I'm going to pitch to someone, I've written a lot of songs on piano that have the basic structure, and I think it's something to do with the richness of the chords and I don't know. There's just something very organic about it as well that works and kind of supports the idea for a melody. I certainly can't play piano on the level I play guitar. I hope someday maybe to get there. I got to keep practicing. So.
Jeff, I am so saddened because we've come to the point that we have just like about a minute left. It went by so fast. Jeff, what is the advice that you can give to aspiring guitarists out there?
Right. I would say, basically take risks, try to play with people who are on a higher level than you are so that you will actually reach that level, be humble. And also too, you will find your own voice. First, go through and like learn from all the greats, listen to all the great records, do your homework, quote unquote. Listen to as much as you can and find a guitar player you really like and listen to them a lot. Figure out what they're doing, those kinds of things. But I think eventually you want to create your own voice and trust, because I think everyone has something unique to offer. Whether you got 100 million followers or whether you have 10, I think that, you got your own voice in this world. We all do. So I think that, it's natural for you to explore that and put it out there. And I also think you always find your audience, regardless of, I think some people are not going to like what you do, but some are going to like what you do. And those people are your audience, and you'll always have those people. So, you play to your audience, I've always believed that too. So.
Jeff, thank you so much for tuning in. It's been an amazing show. Thank you for your performances. And folks, if you want to check out our guest tonight, Jeff Gunn, that's JEFFGUNN. Go on YouTube, and he's got amazing songs. He's just going to blow you away by his talent.
Thank you for having me.
Well, Jeff, it was my profound pleasure, and we hope to have you back sometime.
Thank you so much. I look forward to it. What a great time with you. Thank you.
And good luck with your new album and all of your endeavors.
Thank you very much. Take care.
Jeff, stay backstage, please. We're going to come and get you after the show.
All right. Sounds good.
Okay. Thank you. There you have it, folks. That was our guest tonight, Jeff Gunn, an amazing fingerstyle guitarist virtuoso from Toronto, Ontario. He's known worldwide. So thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in. Stay tuned next week. We have another interesting guest, a local hero, another guitarist. He actually collaborated on our web series called Daily Struggles. We used his song, I Can't Stop Running, which is doing amazingly. If you guys want to check out the song, go on YouTube, the Charles V. Rocks Vaccaro channel. Can't Stop Running, an amazing song. We use it in our show. Thank you so much, Charles, for permitting us to use the song. And he also got his hand at some acting. He was our cameo guest on the show. So, guys, thank you very much. Don't forget to tune in next week. From now till next week, everybody stay cool, stay calm, stay safe. God bless you. We'll see you next Monday with Charles. Ciao, baby. Tonight, we have an amazingly talented fingerstyle